and welcome to Leaders of Tomorrow, India's only daily television platform for small businesses. We bring you the right information to empower you, the SME entrepreneur. Tonight on the show, we're bringing you highlights for panel discussion that I did in Mysuru, talking about an eye on emerging technology as well as tourism. What some of the experts who joined us that evening had to say about why small businesses should embrace more and more technology, particularly in the area of tourism, and what some of the opportunities and challenges are. Listen. Thank you very much to everyone again for being here with us this evening. And we love talking to the entrepreneurs on our panels wherever it is we go to ask them to very briefly talk to our audience about what it is you do. So let me come first to the lady on the panel, Chaya. Thanks for joining us this evening. Give us a brief on Nectar Fresh for our audience.
Nectar Fresh is a rural social enterprise. We are into tribal and rural empowerment. Currently, we are into agri-food business. Very shortly, we are diversifying into promoting tribal produce across the country.
Vinay.
I'm Vinay. We run a company called Gully Tours. We're into experiential travel. We do walking tours, cycle tours, food tours, different kinds of tours in Bangalore, Mysore, Coorg, and now also in Kochi.
Fantastic. On that note, I want to talk about what are basically the biggest opportunities when it comes to the tourism space and the biggest opportunities when it comes to the tech space. Tourism, because of course Mysuru is known as the heritage city. Technology, because of the proximity, of course, to Bengaluru and all of the work that is happening there and the investments being done by global majors in Mysuru. So let's kick this off, and this is open to everyone on this panel, but Bhaskar, maybe you could kick this off by talking about the fact that figures suggesting that the travel and tourism industry forecasted to grow at a CAGR of 12 to 14%, creating in excess of 25 to 30 million jobs. For Mysuru specifically then, what are the opportunities in travel and tourism?
I think opportunities in Mysore in travel and tourism is huge. It's not only in the traditional travel and tourism and hospitality. I'm going to include hospitality as well as a part of it, but also the connection or the integration between travel, tourism, hospitality, and the IT piece of it. I think that is very, very critical. Secondly, Mysore already has a brand for being one of the top tourist destinations in India after Taj Mahal. You know, Mysore Palace, as many people know, is one of the, or the second only after Taj Mahal. I think if we can combine business tourism along with the tourism of, the end consumer tourism, I think that would be a huge opportunity to put Mysuru brand as a tourist destination to the next level.
Okay. And by business tourism, you mean, say, people who are coming to maybe the tech companies, etc., flying into India on work?
Correct. So, it could be, let's say, people, corporates. If you can bring corporates who want to do the, let's say, annual general body meeting or, any strategic meet that they want to do, and bring them here to Mysore, and then combine fun and pleasure along with business.
Fair enough. Fair point. Business tourism, you're saying. Jacob, if I can come to you and talk about the fact that Bangalore and Karnataka is also known for medical tourism, and you see a lot of medical tourism as well happening there. Do you think that's an area that is ripe to be exploited, particularly for Mysuru?
Definitely. Because Bangalore has already been a medical tourism, why not Mysore? Because Mysore being industrially very strong. And if you see that the ink what you have put, globally, rather India-wise, that ink is made here in Mysore. It's the only manufacturer of ink here. So if we looking at the silk, Mysore silk is very famous. And Mysore sandal oil is very famous. So the medical tourism is not picked up just because there is no airport. Or if the Bangalore airport is connected to Mysore in 2 hours time or 1.5 time with an express highway. When the express highway is made from Delhi to Agra, and Delhi to Amritsar, Why not Bangalore to Mysuru is not done?
One important stakeholder in this change, of course, is the government, Mr. Janardana. Let me come to you and talk about, the biggest changes we've really been seeing in Mysuru when it comes to the tourism space. As the Deputy Director in the Department of Tourism, where is the biggest opportunity here in your mind?
One thing I special mention to Mysuru Warriors. Because of them only, Mysuru has developed like a major tourism destination. We are offering not only heritage and architecture, we are offering everything. So Mysuru is a best tourism spot in the India. And it is developing as a Nike tourism. Nike tourism is developing, as my friend said, it's a new concept called MICE tourism, meetings, incentives, conventions and exhibitions. So it is happening in Mysuru, and wildlife tourism, as well as the plantation stays, adventure tours, everything is happening in Mysuru. So we are seeing tremendous growth in the tourism.
Okay. While we're talking about tourism, I don't want to leave out technology, of course. And Mysuru is the second largest exporter of software outside of Bangalore in the state of Karnataka. My question to you is, how can we consolidate that? How can we ensure there are more Infosys that are coming in, seeing really the potential and investing much more into places like Mysuru?
So I think we have to think beyond Infosys. The technology sector today, it is, of course, IT has really changed the landscape, and Infosys came here to a great deal because of the founder. I used to be in Infosys, so I know he was very attached. In fact, when we used to visit Mysuru earlier, Mr. Narayan Murthy's home here used to serve as our guest house. So from those days, we have grown there. However, if you see today, the technology industry is going far beyond IT service. There's a lot of growth happening because of startups which are coming in, and there are newer technology areas coming in. One way for any of the startup system to survive is to have an ecosystem. Why Bangalore? Bangalore today probably hosts about 30 to 35% of startups in India. Now, why is that so? Because startups find everything which they need. They find talent there, they find investors there, they find people like WeWorks who have created spaces for them to go in, and so on and so forth, right? Now, it's very tough to compete with some place like Bangalore and maybe Hyderabad, etc., if you want to be in a general purpose IT. On the other hand, Mysuru has to find its differentiation. And for example, the theme of the session today, you are saying tech and tourism, I will say tech in tourism, can become the USP for this place. There are so many opportunities. Today, if you go to Mysuru Palace, you see that audio guide. A great improvement from what we were earlier, so thanks to the tourism department. However, it can go far beyond.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I do think that that's something that we need to debate. But I've just very quickly, before we talk a little more about tech and tourism and the merger really between the two, very briefly want to also talk about the challenges. I do know that the challenges as far as the tourism industry are manifold and are well known. We've been discussing it for many, many years now. But very briefly to everyone on this panel, including, of course, the entrepreneurs who are based here and doing business here, in your mind, the top one or two biggest challenges that you are seeing when it comes to doing business in Mysuru, whatever is the industry you're in?
Well, if you ask me, finance is a major hiccup. Especially, it's not as rosy as the bankers would speak about. And it is pretty sad that the funds allotted by the government is going to the wrong hands. And unlike urban India, we are not, in fact, blessed with to know about the awareness. I would say about the schemes are very fewer, and hiccups are many. But I tell you, I think we have the strength in us to overcome challenges and succeed, and that satisfaction is enormous. I was just telling you earlier that today we pay an interest rate of 14.75% and yet succeeded in running a social enterprise. It's about seeing positivity.
Despite the fact that you're a woman entrepreneur and have several schemes.
A rural social women entrepreneur. In spite of being a rural woman running a social enterprise, I pay 14.75% interest rate from a leading nationalized bank. And I had two options: either I crib and complain about it, or overcome this challenge and succeed against all odds. I chose the second option, and today my husband and me have that enormous satisfaction of making it against all odds.
So what can be done in this situation then?
No, especially on the tourism, the challenges is, especially for Mysore, lot of taxis come from Kerala. I think tourism department we can note. When your GST is introduced, one tax, one nation, and one product. Similarly, why this kind of entry fees tax for taxi is charged, especially for Dasara time, is been exempted. Special notification were exempted. But other places, because you know the Kerala has got its own country, lot of tourism people come there, and they want to come and visit Mysore, but they charge very heavily on the taxes. See, when you go to any foreign country, there is an industrial tourism. Wherever the gems manufactured or some jewelry is manufactured, they take you, show you how they make it. Similarly, in Mysore, we have a silk, such a famous Mysore silk. Why not all the tourists can also visit Mysore silk manufacturing industry?
Honorable Tourism Minister already requested Transport Minister to look into this. To all around the year for 365, we requested Transport Department to exempt the vehicle tax, entry tax. Like Heineken experience that you have mentioned now, so we have requested the authorities, like regarding the silk, it comes under KSIC, we requested KSIC guys to look into that. Definitely we will come up with this.
I'm going to slip into a very short break on that note, but we will continue bringing you the highlights of that panel discussion from Mysuru on the other side. Just stay tuned. Welcome back with us here on Leaders of Tomorrow tonight on the show, bringing you highlights for panel discussion that we've done in Mysuru. I just want to go back to something that Chaya said, and she was talking about financing. 90% of an entrepreneur's journey perhaps is influenced by how much funds and finance they're able to raise. Vinay, do you want to talk to us about your experience? Have you raised any funds?
I think it's a great question, and I agree. In fact, last time when I came on your program, I probably thought fundraising is not as challenging as what they say. But I think having gone through that journey in the last 1 year, especially in a tier 2 city, it's harder because you only have access to banks. A lot of banks don't understand businesses that are not traditional, right? Unlike, let's say, if you're in a bigger ecosystem, you probably have angel investors and other kind of investors. So I think, of course, I think finance is a challenge. How do you overcome that? Well, I think you probably look outside of the banks for your funding. And I think also you have interesting platforms where I think like Let's Venture in Bangalore, which is like a crowdfunding platform where you have investors on those platforms. So I think you probably have to be a little more creative. But I think the positive here being, I think your costs are also low compared to like another tier 1 city. So I think...
Okay, so we hear this very often, entrepreneurs who are based not in the metros but outside, and this is to everyone on the panel, say we don't have access to, say, PE, VC, angel investors. What's the solution? What would the experts on this panel recommend?
No, here, as you rightly stated, angel investor or venture capitals come on MSME only when the turnover is 50 crores and above. Otherwise, they don't come in because it's not worth for him. Achha, how to do, say from, say, as you say, 4 crores or maybe 1 crore to, say, 50 crores. How to do it? An entrepreneur has to be a little more vigilant and give a threat.
Don't restrict yourself. If one person says no, knock on a couple of other doors.
Don't marry one. Have many options.
That I wouldn't know about or recommend. Go ahead, Mr. Bhaskar.
As far as finance is concerned, not otherwise.
So I would talk from the IT perspective because that's my background. So funding in IT space. So as Vinay rightly said, there are avenues other than putting your own finances. There are crowdfunding platforms. There are of course incentives for the IT and ITES companies from Government of Karnataka, and there are of course bank loans available and so on and so forth. The ecosystem for funding in Mysore is not as mature or as vibrant as as one would like to see. That is because the ecosystem of startups itself doesn't exist in Mysore yet. But having said that, I think Mysore is taking steps to move forward in creating that ecosystem. For example, in the month of December last year, we started a chapter for TIE Mysore. So TIE is the Indus Entrepreneurs, which is worldwide organization that helps mentor startups and things like that, and then provide VC funding, et cetera, et cetera. So Mysore is definitely moving. And there is also recently, for example, one company in Mysore got acquired by a large IT company, which is based out of Hyderabad, as well as, and so on. So that ecosystem is developing, but it is not developing as quickly as one would like. And my personal take is probably infrastructure or connectivity to infrastructure of connectivity to other cities is probably a major hindrance at this point in time, and therefore availability of skills.
So do you think that the question of perception perhaps needs to be fixed or has been fixed? Someone, did say, don't look at Mysuru as being laid back, but perhaps a lot of people think, innovation, for instance, in places like Mysuru, in tier 2 towns, is not happening as much as is happening in the metros. You think it's a perception issue?
No, Mysuru is not like that. It's growing, actually. It's a happening city now. For example, in terms of tourism infrastructure only, our department is supporting Mysuru and as well as the tier 3 cities like Hassan, Mandya, Coorg, like that. In this year only, our department has invested nearly 150 crores for the upgradation of infrastructure in tourism. So this will definitely create a good ecosystem for the entrepreneurs as well as the people. So
I think there may be some reality to the perception. So I may be a contrarian here.
Yes, an unpopular opinion.
Yeah,
Go
so
ahead.
there may be some reality to the perception that Mysore is a sleeping city. But having said that, Mysore also is a great place for a work-life balance. Right? It's a fantastic place for a work-life balance. If that is creating the perception that people here are very lazy, that is probably not the right perception then. Right? I think what Mysore needs is not only an ecosystem of companies, whether it's micro companies or small scale companies, but it also needs the talent pool. Great that we have 6,000 people graduating every year, but that is lower end of the pyramid in an organization. Right? It takes a lot of effort for an organization to train them and then absorb them when they become productive. I think what is lacking in Mysore today is its inability to attract talent at the mid-management level or at the mid-career level. Top-level career, yeah, people have made their career successful elsewhere. They want to come back to Mysore and settle down in a peaceful place, etc. At the lower rung, there is lots of effort, and they also have aspirations. Therefore, they leave in Mysore and go away. So I think unless we create an ecosystem or an ecosystem gets created here, in whichever way, that problem is going to exist. But then ultimately, I want to just wrap up by saying, everybody is going to have challenges. If you don't have challenges to solve, there is no fun in solving those challenges. Right? So no entrepreneur should expect anytime. I've been an entrepreneur twice in my life. No entrepreneur can anytime expect that there's going to be a bed of roses all the time. If you have that, that means you picked the wrong idea. Right? And you probably is not going to scale. Right? So there is no fun in solving a problem or a challenge if there are no hurdles in your way.
Okay. Mr. Krasta, are you also going to take an unpopular opinion?
No. If Goa can grow tourism that side, if Kerala can grow tourism that side, if the Mysore being a knowledge hub, using this Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, 3D, see, these are the things today, technology is easily available. Use it for tourism. And the last, blockchain. Is a new technology, please adopt, study what is blockchain and how it can be implemented tourism. You being a knowledge hub, a education hub in Mysore, wake up, start. There's a huge potential, and one day I see Mysore will compete Bangalore.
In spite of being a very extremely proud Mysorean, I should say we have a swalpa adjust maadi attitude big time. But seeing that, I should say we have opportunities galore. We have country's best R&D institutes. Have we spoken yet of CFTRI and DFRL? Numerous opportunities in agribusiness for entrepreneurs. We need to capitalize it, and we will actually. I'm so optimistic about it.
Fantastic. Can we end on another optimistic note then?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So I think Mysuru has one more great opportunity, that it has to learn from the mistakes which Bangalore has done. Bangalore has done a lot of good things, but anybody who lives in Bangalore dares not enter a road at the wrong time, right? So there are many mistakes Bangalore done, not only in infrastructure, but as well as in terms of kind of industrial growth, which is now reaching saturation. And in that, probably not connecting a lot to the local conditions. I mean, Bangalore is essentially serving the globe, not so much Bangalore or you know. So that way, I think Mysuru has an opportunity to differentiate. As I was mentioning and Mr. Jacob was saying, there are enough application areas where, so artificial intelligence, what you need is a place to experiment. What is tourism about? Tourism is all about experience. And artificial intelligence can raise a tourism experience manifold. And you have add to that IoT, it will be another manifold. Those opportunities exist to create, try here, we have talent here, and then export that to the globe. And that is one way we can go. So I think a lot is happening here, but the opportunities are tremendous. One has to basically be creative, look at the way technologies are evolving, and see how to apply in a different context, and then you have a killing combination.
That probably is a summary really of this panel, that opportunities exist and are aplenty here in Mysuru, but entrepreneurs also have to take the onus, so to speak, upon themselves to really grow their businesses. All of the panelists, thank you so much for being here tonight. All right, that completely wraps up this episode of The Leaders of Tomorrow. If, like the audience at Mysuru, you have any questions about any aspect of your business, do let us know. We promise to get you in touch with the right experts. leadersoftomorrow@timesgroup.com is our email ID. On social media, Sunanda_J and LOT_ET now on Twitter. On Facebook, Leaders of Tomorrow on ET Thanks for watching. Have a good night.